Chosen One, every person who witnessed how you handled their disgusting attacks is now talking about you with a level of respect and awe that's about to change your entire life. You're about to discover exactly how you accidentally became the most respected person in your entire circle. But first, let me tell you about the 3 phone calls that happened yesterday that are going to blow your mind. The first call came from someone you haven't spoken to in months. They were practically whispering into the phone, afraid someone might overhear them. They said something that's going to make your heart race. I need to tell you what really happened behind the scenes. You have no idea how many people were watching this whole thing unfold. The second call, that one's going to reveal the identity of your secret defender, someone who's been fighting for you in rooms you didn't even know existed. And the third call, well, that one's going to change your entire understanding of why this attack happened in the first place. A group of toxic individuals looked at your life and made a decision that would ultimately destroy them instead of you. Their strategy had 3 phases, and you're going to be shocked when you realize how perfectly each phase backfired on them. Phase 1 was reputation destruction. They started spreading stories about you that were so outrageous, so completely fabricated, that anyone with half a brain could see through them immediately. They took conversations you'd shared in confidence and twisted them into evidence of character flaws you don't even possess. But here's where their first miscalculation became obvious. The people they approached with these stories knew you well enough to recognize lies when they heard them. Instead of turning against you, these individuals started documenting everything they were being told. They were building a case, but not the kind your attackers expected. Phase 2 involved isolating you from your support system. They reached out to your closest friends and family members with carefully crafted messages designed to make you look unstable, unreliable, and dangerous to be around. They painted themselves as concerned parties, just trying to protect everyone from your alleged toxic behavior. This is where something absolutely beautiful happened that your attackers never saw coming. The people who truly know you didn't just reject these stories. They started comparing notes with each other. They realized they were all receiving similar messages and began to understand that a coordinated attack was taking place. Phase 3 was supposed to be your public humiliation. They planned to create a situation where you would be forced to defend yourself publicly, knowing that defensive behavior would make you look guilty regardless of the truth. They wanted to trigger an emotional reaction that would validate all the lies they'd been spreading about your character. Instead, you did something that left everyone absolutely speechless. You remained completely calm. Not just calm, you were radiant with inner peace while chaos swirled around you. You didn't defend, didn't explain, didn't react with anger or desperation. You simply continued being exactly who you've always been, and that consistency became the most powerful testimony to your true character. Now remember those 3 phone calls I mentioned earlier? Here's where those threads start connecting in ways that are going to give you chills. The first caller was someone who had been approached by your attackers during Phase 2. They revealed that not only had they rejected the lies being spread about you, but they had been secretly recording every conversation. They now possess evidence of the entire conspiracy, including audio recordings of your attackers admitting they were making things up. The second caller, your secret defender, turns out to be someone in a position of significant influence who witnessed the entire situation unfold. They've been quietly reaching out to everyone in your professional and personal network, not to defend you with words, but to share documented evidence of your character over time. They've been building an ironclad case for your integrity without you even knowing it. The third caller is going to shock you the most. They revealed the real reason you were targeted in the first place. Your attackers weren't just jealous of your success, they were terrified of your influence. You represent everything they'll never be able to achieve through manipulation and lies. Your authentic power exposed their artificial personas, and they couldn't tolerate that level of truth in their vicinity. But here's the plot twist that's going to make your jaw drop. While your attackers were executing their three-phase plan, you were unknowingly building something that would make their efforts completely irrelevant. Every day you chose integrity over revenge. Every moment you remained centered instead of reactive. Every time you responded with wisdom instead of emotion, you were creating an invisible shield that would deflect everything they threw at you. Your attackers made a critical error in their assessment of who you really are. They assumed you would fight them using their own tactics, lies, manipulation, emotional warfare. They prepared for a battle they understood. Instead, you engaged in a completely different kind of warfare that left them utterly defenseless. You fought with silence when they expected screaming. You responded with grace when they anticipated anger. You demonstrated strength when they predicted breakdown. This response so thoroughly confused them that they started making increasingly desperate moves, each one exposing more of their true nature to the growing audience of observers. And about that audience, this is where things get really interesting. Your attackers thought they were gathering witnesses to your destruction. They actively invited people to watch what they assumed would be your complete breakdown. They were so confident in their plan that they wanted maximum visibility for what they believed would be your final moments of credibility. Instead, they created an amphitheater full of people who watched them destroy themselves in real time. Every lie they told was immediately fact-checked by observers who knew you personally. Every manipulation tactic they employed was recognized and documented by people who understood exactly what they were witnessing. Every desperate escalation they attempted only provided more evidence of their own instability. The audience they assembled to witness your downfall became the jury that convicted them of character assassination. But wait, there's another layer to this story that's even more incredible. While this public spectacle was unfolding, something was happening in private that your attackers had no idea about. The people closest to you weren't just defending you, they were conducting their own investigation into why this attack was happening in the first place. They discovered that this wasn't the first time your attackers had tried to destroy someone's reputation. There was a pattern of behavior going back years, with multiple victims who had been too intimidated to speak up previously. Your situation became the catalyst that gave these previous victims the courage to come forward with their own experiences. Suddenly, what looked like an isolated attack on you revealed itself to be part of a much larger pattern of predatory behavior. Your attackers weren't just toxic individuals having a personal conflict with you. They were serial character assassins who had been operating in the shadows for years. This revelation changed everything. The narrative shifted from conflict between individuals to pattern of abuse by known predators. The people who had initially been brought in to witness your supposed downfall now understood they were watching something much more significant. The exposure of individuals who had been causing harm in their community for years. Your calm response to their attacks wasn't just admirable, it was heroic. You had unknowingly become the person brave enough to stand in the light while these predators exposed themselves, trying to drag you into darkness. The respect people developed for you during this situation goes far beyond admiration for how you handled conflict. They witnessed someone who possessed the rare courage to remain authentic when surrounded by deception, to stay grounded when others were trying to destabilize everything around them. You became living proof that integrity can withstand any assault, that truth doesn't need defense because it defends itself, and that authentic power is absolutely unshakable when tested by artificial manipulation. But the story gets even better. Your attackers realizing their plan had completely backfired, tried to retreat and minimize the damage they had caused to their own reputations. They attempted to frame their behavior as a misunderstanding, a conflict that got out of hand, a situation where everyone shared some responsibility. The audience that had witnessed their systematic attempts to destroy you wasn't buying it. These observers had seen the premeditation, the coordination, the calculated cruelty of the attacks. They had watched someone attempt to methodically dismantle another person's life for no reason other than pure malice. They understood exactly what they had witnessed, and they weren't going to let it be rewritten as anything less serious than it actually was. Your attackers found themselves facing something they had never experienced before. Accountability from an informed audience that had seen through all their tactics. The people who had been brought in to watch your destruction became the witnesses to their exposure. Every manipulation technique they had used was now known and documented. Every lie they had told was now on record with people who could verify the truth. Every boundary they had crossed was now visible to individuals who understood the severity of their behavior. Meanwhile, you were experiencing something extraordinary. The inner work you had done during the most intense period of these attacks had transformed you in ways that were becoming visible to everyone around you. The pressure they had intended to break you with had instead compressed you into someone with diamond-like resilience. People weren't just impressed with how you had handled the situation. They were inspired by the person you had become through the process. You had discovered levels of strength, wisdom, and grace that you might never have accessed without being forced to go so deep within yourself. Your attackers had unknowingly provided you with the exact experiences you needed to evolve into a higher version of yourself. Every challenge they presented had called forth qualities in you that had been dormant, waiting for the right circumstances to emerge. The person who emerged from this situation was someone who could handle anything. You had been tested at levels that would have destroyed most people, and you had not only survived, but thrived. You had discovered that your core self is absolutely unshakable when anchored in authentic truth. This transformation didn't go unnoticed by the people in your life. They began seeking your perspective on their own challenges, recognizing that you possessed hard-won wisdom about handling difficult people and situations. Your phone started ringing with calls from friends and colleagues who wanted to understand how you had maintained such composure under extreme pressure. You had accidentally become the person people turn to when they need an example of how to handle adversity with grace. Your response to these attacks had established you as someone with rare qualities that are desperately needed in a world full of reactive, emotionally unstable individuals. But perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this entire situation is how it revealed your true purpose. You weren't just someone who happened to handle a difficult situation well. You were someone who had been prepared by life experiences to demonstrate a different way of being in the world. Your response to these attacks became a teaching moment for everyone who witnessed it. People saw that it's possible to maintain dignity when surrounded by lies, to stay centered when others are trying to create chaos, to respond with wisdom when provoked with malice. You became living proof that authentic power comes from inner stability rather than external control. Your story spread beyond the immediate circle of people who witnessed the attacks firsthand. Others heard about how you had handled this situation and began seeking you out, wanting to understand the source of such unshakable composure. You had become a beacon for others who were dealing with their own toxic situations. People who were being manipulated, lied about, or attacked began reaching out to you for guidance, recognizing that you possessed something they desperately needed to develop in themselves. The attacks that were meant to diminish your influence had instead amplified it exponentially. Your reputation for integrity and strength had spread far beyond your original circle, creating opportunities and connections that wouldn't have existed otherwise. The toxic individuals who had started this entire situation found themselves dealing with consequences they had never anticipated. The reputation damage they had intended for you had landed squarely on their own doorstep. The isolation they had tried to create around you had become their own experience. The chaos they had attempted to inject into your life had consumed their own peace of mind instead. They had invested enormous amounts of time, energy, and credibility into a plan that had achieved the exact opposite of their intentions. Not only had they failed to damage you, but they had elevated you to a level of respect and influence you might never have achieved without their intervention. The irony is so perfect, it almost seems orchestrated by forces beyond human planning. Your attackers had unknowingly become the greatest promoters of your authentic character. Their attempts to expose your weaknesses had instead highlighted your strengths. Their efforts to isolate you had connected you with people who truly understood your value. Their campaign to destroy your reputation had established you as someone with unshakable integrity. Right now, as you process everything that has happened, people are still talking about how you handled this situation. They're using your response as an example of how to maintain grace under pressure. They're recommending you for opportunities that require someone with proven character and composure. The impression you made during this difficult time will last for years to come. You've established yourself as someone who can be trusted with important responsibilities, relied upon during crises, and respected for your uncompromising integrity. Your journey through this disgusting situation has positioned you for a level of success and influence that your attackers will never be able to achieve through their toxic methods. You've proven that authentic power is infinitely more sustainable than manipulation. The truth is stronger than lies, and that character is the ultimate insurance policy against any assault. The people who are so impressed by how you handled this situation understand they witnessed something rare and valuable. They saw proof that it's possible to maintain your humanity while under attack, to keep your heart open while protecting your boundaries, and to stay true to your values when it would have been easier to compromise them. This experience has equipped you with wisdom and strength that will serve you for the rest of your life. You now know beyond any doubt that you can weather any storm, overcome any obstacle, and maintain your integrity under the most extreme circumstances. Chosen, when what was meant to be your ending became your beginning. What was designed to break you made you unbreakable. What was intended to diminish your light caused it to shine brighter than ever before. The people who tried to destroy you have unknowingly prepared you for greatness beyond what you previously imagined possible. Your response to their attacks has established you as someone who operates from authentic power, and that makes you incredibly valuable in a world that desperately needs examples of genuine strength and integrity. The story of how you handled this disgusting situation will be told for years to come, inspiring others to develop the same level of inner resilience and unshakable character that you demonstrated when it mattered most. But there's something else happening right now that's going to absolutely astound you, and it involves the ripple effects that are spreading far beyond your immediate situation. The energy shift you created by refusing to engage in their toxic games has triggered what can only be described as a domino effect of positive change in your entire environment. People who witnessed your composure are now applying the same principles in their own lives when facing difficult situations. Your former attackers are discovering that their reputation damage extends far beyond just the people who witnessed their behavior toward you. Word has spread through interconnected networks about their tactics, and they're finding doors closing in places they never expected. Job opportunities are disappearing, social invitations are drying up, business partnerships are being reconsidered. Meanwhile, every door that closes for them seems to open two more for you. 3 weeks after their failed attack, you received an opportunity that seemed to come out of nowhere, until you traced it back to someone who had been quietly observing how you handled yourself under pressure. They specifically mentioned that your grace under fire was exactly what they needed for their organization. This pattern is repeating itself across multiple areas of your life. People are actively seeking you out for projects, partnerships, and positions, specifically because they witnessed how you conduct yourself when things get difficult. Your reputation for unshakable composure has become your most valuable professional asset. Your attackers thought they were ending your story, but they actually wrote the opening chapter of your greatest expansion period. The personal growth you experienced during those intense weeks of attack has created a new baseline for how you operate in the world. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. You've developed an internal compass, so strong that external chaos can't throw you off course. This shift in your energy is attracting entirely different types of people into your orbit. The individuals connecting with you now appreciate depth, authenticity, and genuine strength. They're drawn to your energy because they recognize someone who has been tested and proven reliable. Your social circle is upgrading itself automatically. People who thrive on drama and chaos are naturally repelled by your newfound stability, while those who value peace and authentic connection are magnetically attracted to what you represent. But here's where the story takes another incredible turn that your attackers never could have predicted. 6 months later, one of the people who had initially been recruited to participate in the attack against you reached out with information that's going to change everything you thought you knew about this situation. They revealed that your attackers had been planning this assault for over a year before they actually launched it. They had been studying your patterns, identifying your relationships, and mapping out your entire social and professional network. This wasn't a spontaneous conflict. It was a premeditated campaign designed to systematically dismantle your life. The level of calculation involved was honestly disturbing. They had created fake social media accounts to monitor your activities. They had cultivated relationships with people in your circle specifically to gather information about you. They had even attended events you were at, pretending to be friendly, while actually conducting surveillance. This revelation transformed how everyone viewed what had happened. What people had initially seen as a conflict between individuals was now understood to be something much more sinister. A coordinated stalking and harassment campaign that had been in development for months. The respect people had already developed for how you handled their attacks deepened into something approaching awe when they realized the true scope of what you had been facing. You hadn't just handled a difficult situation well. You had single-handedly defeated a sophisticated operation designed by multiple people working together to destroy you. Your ability to remain centered and authentic while unknowingly surrounded by this level of deception and planning demonstrated a strength of character that left people genuinely amazed. They realized they had witnessed someone operate from such authentic power that an entire conspiracy couldn't shake their foundation. The person who revealed this information also shared something else that's going to give you chills. They told you that your calm response to their attacks had actually saved other people from becoming future victims. Your refusal to break under pressure had exposed these individuals as the predators they really were, preventing them from successfully targeting others down the line. Your composure during those attacks wasn't just personally beneficial. It was a service to your entire community. By standing firm in your integrity, you had pulled back the curtain on individuals who were dangerous to everyone around them. This realization adds an entirely new dimension to how people view your character. You're not just someone who handled adversity well, You're someone whose strength protected others from harm. Your integrity during that difficult period served a purpose much larger than your personal situation. The toxic individuals who orchestrated this campaign are now dealing with exposure on a level they never anticipated. Their sophisticated planning and coordination is being discussed in circles far beyond your immediate environment. People are sharing their story as a cautionary tale about the lengths some individuals will go to in order to tear down others. Professional networks are quietly passing along information about their behavior. Social groups are warning new members about their tactics. Even family members are distancing themselves from the drama and reputation damage these individuals created through their own choices. The isolation they tried to create around you has become their own reality, but in their case, it's completely self-inflicted and entirely deserved. Your life, on the other hand, has expanded in ways that seemed impossible before this situation began. The strength you developed during those attacks has opened up possibilities you never would have considered previously. You now know you can handle anything, which has made you bold enough to pursue opportunities that once seemed beyond your reach. Your ability to remain calm during conflict has become legendary among the people who witnessed it. They tell others about how you handled that situation when they want to illustrate what real strength looks like. Your story has become the gold standard for grace under pressure. Meanwhile, your former attackers are learning that reputation damage in the modern world doesn't disappear quickly. Their behavior during that period continues to follow them in ways they never anticipated. Every new person they meet eventually hears about what they did and how they conducted themselves. They're discovering that destroying someone's character only works if that person actually has character flaws to exploit. When you target someone with genuine integrity, your attacks don't damage them. They reveal your own lack of character. To everyone watching, the energy you put into maintaining your composure during their assault has paid dividends that continue to compound. Every day you chose dignity over revenge. Every moment you remained centered instead of reactive. Every time you responded with wisdom instead of emotion. All of that energy created a foundation of authentic power that serves you in every area of your life. Your attackers put enormous effort into temporary chaos, while you invested your energy into permanent strength. The results speak for themselves. People are still talking about how you handled that disgusting situation because it demonstrated something rare and valuable in today's world. You showed that it's possible to maintain your humanity when others are trying to strip it away, to keep your integrity intact when surrounded by deception, and to grow stronger when others are trying to weaken you. Chosen 1. Your response to their attacks has established you as someone who operates from authentic power rather than reactive emotion. This makes you incredibly valuable in a world where most people fall apart at the first sign of serious pressure. The impression you made during that difficult time has created a reputation that will serve you for decades to come. You've proven beyond any doubt that your character is unshakable. Your integrity is non-negotiable, and your strength is absolutely genuine. The people who are so impressed by how you handled this situation continue to be amazed because they understand they witnessed something extraordinary. Someone who remained true to their higher self, even when surrounded by individuals determined to drag them down to their lowest level. That's not just impressive, that's inspirational. And that inspiration is creating ripple effects that will benefit you and others for years to come.